I think I know there is, a total misconception by entry paralegals, by people who are landing their first paralegal job or legal secretary job or a legal assistant job, that when you go to the workplace for the first time, that there is going to be a lot of training. And there absolutely is not. This is one of the workplaces where you're really truly flying by the seat of your pants and learning on the job. And so you're like, well, how do we learn? Well, I teach my students in the accelerator class how to learn some things before you go in. Now, this is, whether you've got a 2-year, 4-year degree or not, or let's say you have a certificate, there is still a tremendous amount to learn about how to really help that attorney. And the paralegals don't have time that are already on staff to train. I was fortunate in that I was in a fairly new law firm that two attorneys had started it. They broke out of a partnership, or they broke out of a law firm, they started their own. And they brought on somebody else as a third partner. And then they weren't, let's say, over the top busy, but they were doing okay. And they were getting busier and busier. That's why they brought on a third person, a third attorney. And so they absolutely needed another person, which was me. And she had more time to talk with me. But what she was doing also was holding back from me being able to learn at times, because she was afraid they would overwhelm me, like one attorney in particular. But I was like a sponge and I wanted to learn. I wanted to upgrade my position to where I was a full-fledged paralegal and working on cases. So I had the best training in that place just because I was thrown into preparation for trial. Okay. And I didn't know, um, that that would be one of the best things that ever happened to me, to really give me a well-rounded career. I had no clue in the beginning. It was maybe 3 or 4 years later, and I would go on an interview and they would go, "Oh, you're very well-rounded paralegal. You have," so they would look at the areas of law that I worked in, and it was diverse. But when they saw that I worked in preparing for trial in litigation, they felt that I could handle anything. And that was an interesting day when I heard that. I'd never heard that before, and that was in an interview. So the paralegal mentor, I've had a mentor in a corporate division in New Jersey that was fantastic. But she had work to do all day long. And this is a mistake I made. I kept asking the same questions over and over again. And this is what she said. Her desk was right next to mine. That was my direct boss. And listen to this. She said, "Leslie, you need to start writing down the question you're asking and what I told you, so that you're not doing this repeat thing." And that's why I tell you to bring in a notebook into your first position, because you want to treat that staffer's time, whoever it is, the paralegal or attorney, the professional attorney, or a legal secretary that you're working with, treat them with the utmost respect and respect their time. But they don't have, seriously, an hour to spend with you. They have cases that are assigned to them, and their attorneys are checking up on them to see if they've gotten their work done. Okay. So that being said, I adore mentoring, but I would have to do it with people in snippets. And I mean like 5 minutes. There was a legal secretary that came into my office with deer in the headlights look, and was asking me if I had ever heard of something that had to do with a filing that we had to do. And I said yes. And I had a folder And she goes, "You are kidding me." And I said, "No, I just happened to learn this and at another job." And then I shared that with her, and her mind was blown, but so was mine when I first heard about it. So it's fun. I find it fun to mentor. Absolute fun. And that's why I do these videos. I'm in essence mentoring you through the videos. But you have to respect the paralegal's time and learn as much as you can on your own. And people, yes, are afraid to make mistakes, but you can run that by the paralegal and say, could I have 5 minutes of your time, in the next hour? Do that, okay? But don't expect that when you walk in, they cannot take you by the hand and teach you how to be a paralegal, okay? You have to be a self-starter and take initiative. Now, let me go through, this is day 68 in the Unstuck series. And the title of this is called Unselfish. And I feel being a mentor is an unselfish act because I want to see you do well, but I want to see you step up to the plate and take charge of this, okay? And some people want to be spoon-fed, and that's not how this career works at all. And you have to push, whether you're an introvert, extrovert, or everything in between. Now this is out of Matthew 22, chapter 22, verse 37 to 39. Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. A second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself." So fellow co-workers are essentially my neighbors. Doesn't mean your next door neighbor at where you live. And it could mean that, but understand that to work as a team, there has to be cooperation between each other, but you can't expect that the law firm or a nonprofit or a government agency or a corporation is going to run a school inside the workplace. So the more you learn, and this notebook right here will become invaluable to you. And save it. It's private. Don't leave it at work, please. Put your name on it. Put your, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if you want to put your email address, but hang tight to this. But don't leave it around so that attorneys can look through it and other paralegals. This is private stuff. You go to lunch, take it with you. We live in a me world, and to heck with everybody else in some instances. And the Apostle Paul in his ministries was talking about in Philippians 2, 3 and 4. It's Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. He told us to be unselfish. And that's what mentoring is. To be humble, thinking of others, take an interest in others. I would see people doing work that, I'm not saying it was beneath them, but I knew they were capable of so much more. And so I took it upon myself to uplift and to say, you can do this, So who needs a hand? When we stop fixating just on us, you may say, well, Leslie, I'm just going into this field. I couldn't possibly teach anybody. My daughter went into the culinary field, my daughter Kate, and that the restaurant business, and I owned a restaurant, the restaurant business had extreme high turnover. It always does. And she was relegated to making first desserts, decorating the dessert plate, not making the desserts, and then making salads. And a new lady came in, was extremely nervous, was much older than my daughter, and she took this lady under her wing to calm her down. And that's what we need, as beginners, and even as veterans. When you're a beginner in a firm, you can say to, if you need me to help with anything, I'm right here. And when you're a beginner, you might feel you can't offer that, but you can. So look at yourself, though, as you progress at being a mentor to somebody, even in a small way. You know, I had a friend, an acquaintance at a workplace, and she was a techie. I mean, when I say techie, I mean expert. And I had to ask for her help several times because even though I am a techie and I can build websites and I can do that part of it, the stuff that she would do was behind the scenes in the computer, and so that's not my forte. Um, and I appreciated her so much that she could come in within a nanosecond have everything solved. That just helped me so much, you know. And I, that type of person, you want to get, if you know they like Starbucks or you know that they like something else, get a gift card for them when you're in your position, and don't take them out to lunch just to pick their brain. That's not a nice thing to do. You know, just thank them profusely and get them a present, you know, that says, I really appreciate you. I couldn't get over how much the paralegal helped me in my first job, but that is not always the case, I promise you. So the paralegal can be an incredible mentor, but I want you to respect their time, okay? And use that notebook. And don't forget now, as a beginner, I want you to go over to my website, or you can go straight to Amazon. This is the beginner book. If you're a rank beginner, you're looking at the career for the first time, this is the book for you, okay? Um, it's also on my website under Legal Break-In Book. But when you're on my website at paralegalcoffeetalk.com, be sure to look at the Paralegal Resource Hub. Sign up for that, it's free. And there are resources there for you. And what else? Look under the Accelerator tab. That membership opens on, what do you call it, Black Friday. And just look around the whole thing. So I hope this was helpful to you. That's your strategy when you go into a new workplace. Be careful about expecting that person to lead you every step of the way, okay? And be a sponge, but also learn a lot on your own. All right, have a good day today, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Take care.